At CES 2025, Honda unveiled the prototypes of its two upcoming electric vehicles, the 0 Series Saloon and the 0 Series SUV. Both are expected to go into production in 2026. Ahead of that, Honda invited us to its North American headquarters in Torrance, California to get an in-depth walk around of the vehicles. So I'm here with Johnson Rivers, Department Manager of Product Information, and we are standing next to, this is essentially the Halo car.
That's right.
This is the Honda 0 Series Saloon. Tell me a little bit about this vehicle.
So as you mentioned, this is the flagship of this new sub-brand 0 Series for Honda. And you might remember back at 2024 CES, we first debuted this as a concept. And then just last week in 2025, it's now at a prototype level, which is very close to mass production intent.
And that's, I think there is a, for enthusiasts, this vehicle is a huge deal because the idea of a vehicle looking like this coming to the market as an EV is, it's a lot. It's a
well, it doesn't look like anything else on the road.
Exactly.
And that's part of it being the flagship, really truly a statement piece for what 0 Series and EVs mean for Honda.
Cool. So let's walk through and find out everything about the Saloon.
Okay, well, hey, it's always good to start up front, right?
All right.
So, because I think that was one of the biggest change points from what we showed, last year versus this year. So last year it was much more conceptual. There was this huge light bar up front, kind of animations and graphics. Where this year we kind of really changed the front end. Like I said, bringing it closer to what the actual mass production Saloon will look like. So, that exposes these new kind of sliding headlights, probably the next best thing to a pop-up headlight, right? But, and really lighting, right? Lighting is a critical element of the design and really drawing people into the overall face.
And that face is, it feels very 70s, 80s future, retro futuristic. Was that sort of what Honda was going for when it came up to design, or is it sort of harkens back while still looking at the future?
Yeah, I think there's some of that, right? And it even starts with the logo, right? So that's, if you go back into the 60s and 70s and you look at the Honda logo, it looks quite similar, but that's not a copy and repaste. It's actually a new font type, but it does harken back to the past while looking at the future.
So now let's talk about the profile of this vehicle. This is a very striking vehicle on the road. It's super low. I'm 5, wait, no, I'm not 5. I'm 6'3". I'm 5'17".
Yeah.
I'm 6'3", and this feels really low. Let's talk about this low slung profile.
Well, it's exactly that, and there's really kind of three things actually. So it's low, long, and wide, right? And those are characteristics you want of a very sporty intention vehicle. So yeah, that's one of the things the designers went for, is bringing this kind of wedge shape, right? Really this wedge profile, but you're gonna be really surprised because despite your height and the really low roof line, once we get inside, it's actually quite spacious. And we were able to achieve that off of what we use as the ethos for 0 Series, which is thin, light, wise. The fact that we have our own dedicated EV architecture, our own batteries coming out of our new battery plant, out of our EV hub in Ohio, it allowed us to do really good packaging while also keeping this really sleek design.
Cool, and it's very low, and I think what happens when you see a lot of new EVs is that they're trying to be low, but they can't be because of the battery pack. Now, because it's so wide and long, I'm assuming the battery pack can now be sort of stretched.
Well,
that way.
That's where the thin comes in. So
yeah,
really we're using a new architecture, a new style, and that's going to allow us to keep it a thin battery pack, also making it light. So yeah, these are characteristics that were critical in executing this design.
And now we're here at the rear of the Saloon. And this is, now I've seen a lot of prototypes in my day, I've seen a lot of concept cars. How close is this to production?
Very close, right? Like I said, for Honda, usually when we use the word prototype, it's obviously there'll be some minor tweaks and details as we're finalizing development and design, but overall, this is what the Saloon's gonna look like.
It's weird because the Honda, the name, it seems to be floating inside, and that's really impressive. There's a lot of work that went into just, this is the back of the car.
Yeah.
These are the lights.
Well, yeah, and again, it's like this new Zero Series design language, this new branding, right? The new Honda font. But yeah, the idea is that essentially, now, and this isn't necessarily uncommon in the industry, but you can use cameras for rear visibility versus having just a big piece of glass or exposed elements. So this is something going to be unique, right? Really offering, taking advantage of that kind of technology while still giving you this signature rear end.
And so because of this, we're going to have a rear view camera as you're driving. So you won't have the rear view mirror, you'll actually have that camera so you can see behind you.
Right.
And what's interesting about those cameras is that because you don't see the people in the back, it actually improves your visibility.
Yeah. And in many cases too, right? So like you said, you're not seeing the passengers in the rear of the vehicle, but you're literally getting a much wider view of everything behind you as well.
Awesome, awesome. Typically I'm asking my dog to sit down, but
Yeah.
this is a lot better. And let's talk a little bit more about,
So yeah, obviously some of the material finishes may change, but overall, again, aerodynamics is going to be critical for this vehicle. The low slung proportions, and again, like I said, to improve efficiency. Now, we haven't really talked about the battery packs, the motors. That's going to come as we get much closer to actual on sale, which really isn't that far away. We're saying that for both the vehicles we have here today, they're going to go on sale next year. So when we get closer to that, we'll be able to give you some of the specs. But at a minimum, we've said, for a range target, right, we want to, be over that 300-mile driving range.
So let's talk about this. It looks like a tiny little roof scoop.
Yeah,
But what is it? What should people be? Why should people be excited about this tiny little hump at the top of the windshield?
Well, one of the critical elements of the Zero Series is the fact that we're bringing level 3 autonomous driving to the public, right? And we're really striving to be one of the world's first automakers to do that on all types of roads, right? So in order to accomplish that, you need lots of sensors, cameras, radars, things like that. So what we're looking at here is actually the LiDAR sensor and radar. So this is one critical component, but there's many that will be throughout the vehicle to help support that level 3 autonomous driving.
Now, LiDAR, radar, cameras,
sensors,
the whole thing, the whole shebang.
Yeah, it takes quite a bit, right? Because like I said, the goal is, at launch to be able to do, hands-free, eyes-free, essentially let the vehicle drive itself on expressways and in like kind of a traffic jam style situation. And then over time, with the ability to do over-the-air updates, we can expand that to just general roads. And like I said, we want to be able to cover it in all scenarios.
So yes, it is low slung, but I used to have a Del Sol, and it weirdly had a lot of head and legroom, and I feel like this feels very airy with this sort of open greenhouse. Let's talk about the interior. Let's talk about what's going on with Asimo.
Yeah, so I mean, as what you mentioned is one of Honda's like strong points, which is packaging, right? So again, the fact that we can have a low floor, have the batteries, thin and down below us. Despite this low slung roof, you have pretty good headroom. I've got good room, we've got good space. So that's one of the things we really strive on. That in conjunction with just having, all this glass around us, right? Like you don't feel cocooned in, it's not claustrophobic, right? It feels very airy and spacious. And again, that design is done on purpose, right? So that's definitely one of the things we were focusing on. But together with this kind of, expansive screen and displays we have in front of us, while that's maybe not uncommon in today's vehicles, the operating system that we have here, which is called Asimo, which is ironic in the sense that he actually launched at CES 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So we brought our first humanoid robot to the market, and he changed the world, right? And so now he's here in spirit, living inside, and and really, for us, it was kind of bringing that kind of AI tech to the vehicle as well, because at some level he had AI even back then.
Yeah.
So this operating system was developed ground up by us. But we're also recognizing that, customers are still going to want to be able to connect their smartphone. So there will be things like, CarPlay and Android Auto. We're not, getting rid of those functions, but instead just creating a very strong foundation for how to interact with the vehicle, right? So we don't have exact measurements for screen sizes yet, but fundamentally this is what it's going to look and feel like. So if you're okay, I can give you a quick demo.
Yeah, show me. Let's check out Osmo.
Okay.
It's digital form.
Yeah, well, really we'll focus on this kind of massive center display here. There's obviously a digital instrument cluster in front of you. I don't know if you can see up there. There's even a little display out in the back area. You'll see it kind of moving around later. And then there's even a potential display over here on the passenger side. Now, these cool camera side mirrors, unfortunately for the US market, won't make it because it's a government regulation. Yeah. But in Europe and Japan, where this vehicle will also go on sale, they'll actually be able to use that technology. So getting to the center display, you got a very nice map layout, very easy to use. You could pinch and zoom. You also have these kind of easy to use tiles, which can be customized, and they're very, interactive. Get your music, lots of great graphics, high resolution displays, taking you back home. You have this kind of taskbar down here that will be very simple to easily access things like your climate control, your music, things like that. And what's great is we have this kind of full 3D display of the interior, where you actually see the flow of air coming out. You could also quickly, adjust things like your heated seats, cooled seats, even your heated steering wheel, just at the touch of a button. So it's very nice to have this for both the front and rear of the vehicle. So again, climate controls, haptic feedback will really allow easy access there. Again, going back home. And, for example, again, being a Honda, we have lots of drive modes and, vehicle controls. So that's really easily accessed up here. And these gorgeous animations and displays, this is what you're going to see in the production cars. This isn't just concept, right? So we have things like, maybe you actually live in inclement weather and have to drive your saloon in the snow, right? And in this situation, it's going to tell you what's changing, right? Given the powertrain, the steering, maybe even the EV sound effects, things like that. But whether it's econ, trying to maximize efficiency, comfort, which might change things like even your suspension settings or your steering weight, something like sport mode is going to turn everything to the max setting.
Yeah. And so when you talk about the EV sounds, will it sound like little
well, let me just give you an idea, right? So this isn't necessarily the sound that you may get from the drive, but one of the key things in the experience the designers tried to create is like as you're looking inside, it's about the ambient lighting, it's about the sound, it's about the sense that you might feel from some of the things that happen with the seat. So, let's say you're driving and you got a really long road trip ahead of yourself. So you might want to unwind a bit. So it'll kind of like put you into a different position. It'll change the ambient lighting, and maybe your camera will pick this up. Just like very nice background.
It's like I've just gotten onto a Virgin Air.
There you go.
Virgin Air was a thing, and then that really nice chill music. That's what this feels like.
Well, and then this is maybe a little bit more futuristic, right? Giving you a different experience here. So it's fun that you can do this while driving. But I think one of the cool things is especially me. I have a young kid. You're stuck out at their practice, right? You're just got 2 hours to kill. What am I gonna do? Now in your vehicle, you could choose something like Serene. And first, we're gonna give you a warning to say, hey, maybe your seat might move, things are gonna change. So if I can go ahead and click this, so both our seats come back, your steering wheel hopefully gets out of the way. And then the idea is that, can you feel that in the seats?
Oh yeah.
You're gonna start to feel massage and vibration and these just very peaceful animations, the lights even over the roof, everything kind of gives you this serene while your kid is screaming, playing their favorite sport outside, right? So that's one of the immersive experiences we want to bring with this Osmo OS.
All right, so we've talked about the Saloon. This is the Halo vehicle, but this over here, the SUV, this is the one that, people are coming into the showroom for this. They're walking out with that.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that we're actually launching with this one first for that very reason. So, really excited that the Zero Series SUV, this was the first time we showed this at CES this year. And yeah, it represents, like you said, what people are actually looking for, this kind of family vehicle. It's a small, compact SUV, but again, with some of the great packaging and things that you might have even seen in the Saloon, much of that carries over to this vehicle as well.
So one of the things I see in this vehicle is that I'm seeing a sort of an evolution of the current Honda design aesthetic, especially with the front end. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on here and this very cool, again, light signature?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So again, while we're moving forward with the new Zero Series design language, we still want it at some level to just be recognizable as a Honda. But to your point, kind of an evolution of even what was shown on the original Saloon concept was this kind of light bar effect that you get up front with that prominent new Honda H logo. But one of the cool things is inside this array, there's actually 64 LED lights that can dance and create different effects. This is with the lights on, but essentially it is going to allow for both a low beam, a high beam, and even a turn signal effect. So it looks really cool.
Oh, cool. So like the Honda Saloon, where you're like, oh, where's the turn signal going to be? It's actually part of the LED matrix that you've created.
Yeah.
Oh.
So still taking advantage of that signature element without really, like you said, adding an extra light specifically for that.
Awesome. And this vehicle feels like it's just ready to go, essentially.
This is
like it's the prototype, but it feels like what percentage? 95?
I don't know if I can give it a percentage, but like I said, this is going to be the first Zero Series vehicle to launch. And we're saying maybe like middle of next year, so middle of 2026, so not too far away.
So the profile of this vehicle it's very sleek, it feels very quick. Now let's talk a little bit about like what's going on with the SUV.
Well, there's a lot of unique surfacing. You still have that kind of very low roof line, but as you see, once we get inside, again, you still have really good packaging, which isn't going to interfere with your headroom, legroom, and especially very spacious in the rear. But with that, it gives a very unique profile for the car. Essentially, this is like a C-segment sized SUV, so that's something like a Honda CR-V. But you'll notice once we get inside, the interior packaging almost gives it the feeling of like a class or a segment above. It's quite spacious. But you'll see you have these kind of very unique over fenders, very large wheel and tires. This is where the charge port will ultimately go. And we've said that'll of course be the new standard, right? The NACS, so fast charging.
SAE J3400. We love talking about how we help them.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but we want to make sure that it's future proofed, right? For charging. Again, going for that 300+ mile driving range target, and just giving it this kind of modern but fresh, styling.
Yeah, it has a very the greenhouse feels short, but it's all glass. So I feel like once we get inside, it's going to feel very airy when we're in there. And of course, with this NACS port, you're going to be able to use the Tesla supercharging network, at least the ones that are version 3 and above. So I think people are very happy about that. Plus, Honda's, you're teaming up with GM, BMW, I believe Mercedes for Iona. So there's that, and then of course, Electrify America, ChargePoint, the other charging networks out there. So
yeah, there won't be a shortage of charging options. We want fast charging. We want people to get back on the road as quickly as possible.
So we're here at the back of the Honda SUV, and this again, the Saloon, I thought, well, I'm going to have to do all these things, the changes to the lights. This feels like, again, ready to go.
Like I said, this one's going to launch first. It's very, very close to kind of mass production design intent. And like, we pointed out earlier from the side, just that sloping roof, like, I'm the one that's 5'10", right? And you can see I'm taller than the back of the car, right? It's a very low profile, especially as you get to the rear. But you know, unlike the Saloon, where it was, you know, kind of a closed off rear end, this you can actually see has glass here. It actually does provide a kind of a traditional rear view, but very signature kind of lighting elements, you know, up top and down low. And you know, this kind of new boldface Honda font in the rear.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, for everyone who has to haul families, gear, grocery shopping, how much space is back there?
I'm guilty of it.
Oh, you can just press the little.
That's a nice little trick there. So
wow,
we'll have this all open up. And you know, despite having that kind of low roof line, we're still able to have this very like high opening for packaging. So you could have taller items in the rear. You can obviously have some really good space back here. These actually open up as additional like storage cubby areas as well.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And then we'd have even more underfloor storage in a production level vehicle. So there's quite a lot of flexibility. You have 60/40, you know, rear folding seats, of course, right? So, you know, like I said, despite that kind of low roof line and sleek profile, you actually have a lot of cargo capacity.
This is very interesting because it's sort of, it's the hatchback, but also with the trunk sort of like sort of right angle element. So you're getting a little bit more room as opposed to a hatchback, which would have opened up to here.
To here, yeah.
This is open up to here, so you have that little, any little extra room you can get to put things in your vehicle. It's always this, there's always this much room that you're not able to get that bicycle in,
Yep.
or that box that you bought, or that plant.
Yeah, there's great cutouts in both the sides, so you can get, you know, golf clubs going in this way and, you know, soccer balls for days.
So we're getting into the SUV. Oh yeah, there's a lot of room in here. Even though that, you know, you have that low window, there's actually quite a lot of room in here.
What you see here is, you know, despite that being the flagship, you still get a lot of that tech in this vehicle, including the Osmo operating system, the very large screens, the ambient lighting, you know, carried throughout the vehicle. You know, here you even get an idea of, we're gonna have that kind of digital rear view mirror. But to your point, I mean, all those things are tech pieces that have made their way to the SUV, but it's really, like you said, being able to carry some of that design ethos, you know, this glass, you know, that kind of really goes almost above your head. And wait till you get into the rear, because you're gonna have even more head space back there, as well as more light, because the roof goes all the way back behind the second row.
And the yoke steering, is that production, or are we still figuring that out?
We're looking at options, but
Okay.
with this there's a very good chance this will make it to production, because the 0 Series are going to have steer-by-wire technology. So, you know, drive-by-wire, steer-by-wire, which would actually allow for the steering wheel to do that kind of cool rotation that we saw in the Saloon. So that's obviously going to be there to enhance driving dynamics and really driver ease. And like I said, offer a new level of control. So
Cool. And for viewers who don't know, if you have steer-by-wire, that means you can have a dynamic steering range. So typically, if I had to, you know, do a 3-point turn, I'd have to grab the top, but because the vehicle knows, it can adjust the steering angle based on how the ratio, based on what you're doing. So I'm on the freeway, it gives me a little bit more leeway. When I'm going slow, I can turn a lot more as I, you know, just with smaller movements.
absolutely. And so that'll you know, be considered in the drive modes that you're in, that you'll have some customization there. But yeah, fundamentally, it gives you a lot of flexibility, especially in, like you said, those low speed parking situations.
And are we going full screen with this vehicle, or will there be like some buttons maybe in production?
As of right now, this is kind of the overall general design intent, right? And the idea is that it will be fast and responsive. You know, you can do things by voice as well, right? So, you know, having that AI assistant. And that's the thing too, is it's not just an assistant. The idea is that, you know, we're partnering with Helm.ai. So Helm AI, you know, they're all about, you know, typically with AI, you have to kind of prompt it and feed it information, and it has to kind of learn from you giving it all these instructions. Well, Helmet AI system and their software essentially allows it to learn on its own, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is that, yeah, you know, your passenger will get in and they'll say, well, hi, John. It's great to see you. We know you love some EDM, so we're going to put that on the station. We know you love blue, so now the ambient lighting is going to turn blue in the car. So the idea of predictive behaviors and remembering things really is going to create this kind of companion environment for you.
Yeah, and of course, because again, United States, we have regulatory issues that don't allow these side cameras. This vehicle will ship with this
More of a
side.
traditional side.
But if you happen to be in Europe and you rent one of these,
there you go.
or you have a European friend or a Japanese friend who has one at home, you can experience this.
They can brag about it.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, look what I can do. I can just look over here.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I mean, and again, like I said, we're getting really close to production with this one coming middle of next year. But you want to maybe hop in and check out the rear?
Yeah, let's check out the rear where, the kids and your friends will be sitting.
Absolutely.
All right, we're here. We're in the back seat. Lots of leg room. I was just sitting in the front seat. I'm a tall person. You're right. Yeah, this is a lot of. If we were outside, I could see the stars, the sun.
Yeah.
Snow, I suppose, if it was snowing.
Covered. Yeah. No, it's great, right? So again, the packaging, that low floor, thin battery pack, really allows for some unique packaging. Like I said, essentially, you're almost in a D segment size, interior packaging with C segment exterior packaging. So yeah, it's a really unique combination, which allows for that kind of low roof line and kind of sleek profile, but you're not compromised on the inside.
Yeah, no, this is very comfortable. I could yell at people in the front if I need to. You're going the wrong way. All the backseat driving that you want to do, you can do.
Well, you would hope that with level 3 autonomous driving, you wouldn't even have to tell them they're going the wrong direction. Right?
Yeah, that's true. But someone would have to say something about the awesome of driving. They'd be like, hey, awesome. I would have gone left.
Well, he's like, I know you like to go this route, so that's why I went it.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Predictive AI there. But yeah,
cool.
it's really, like I said, it's about the packaging prowess. You can still see here from the rear, right, this kind of very open space, so it's easy to access the rear even from the second row.
So the Honda 0 Series Saloon, the Honda 0 Series SUV, both will be built in the hub, the EV hub in Ohio, early 2026 production.
Yes.
And then that'll come out, and then
this will follow still in 2026.
Mid 2026 production.
And yeah, it means a lot of new products out there with really striking design, no matter which brand you're looking at. If you're looking at the 0 Series from Honda, you're looking at the new Acura RSX. It's really a new point in time for us to come in full in with new EV tech, utilizing our retooled plants, our new battery plant, to really bring everything in-house to bring this next level technology to the mass.
And it's very interesting because the plant, on the same lines, you'll be able to build gas vehicles, hybrid vehicles, and EVs. So it's not like, so you can adjust Honda can adjust as demand.
The flexibility in our manufacturing has always been one of our strong points, and that's going to continue moving forward. So like you said, we're always going to assess what the market's doing, adjust. Right now, our hybrid products are selling really, really well. The CR-V, Civic, and Accord are, more than half of their sales are the hybrid trim. So people really love that, and we think they're just going to really love these new EVs as well.
Saloon, the enthusiast, the coolest person on your block. The SUV, literally everyone else. Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you so much.
For more videos about EVs and sustainability, be sure to subscribe to SAE International.